All right, YouTube, we're back. We got another upper day today. We're starting out with bench, and I'm thinking we're gonna go for a big bench PR today. I got my spotter over here, so hopefully I don't fail this because I'm not entirely sure if this 130-pound woman can save me. So we're about to find out.
We're like, what? We're like, what, 1 for 3 on me saving you?
She saved me once before, so we'll see. But I'm gonna hit this last warm-up set, and then my top set's gonna be 315, hopefully for 10. That would be the PR. We did 9 about 2 weeks ago, so I think it's about time we push and go for that extra rep. And I've been wanting to hit 315 for 10 for a while, so it'd be a nice big landmark PR for me. So let's hit this last warm-up set and jump into it. Typical warm-up for my top set of 315. 135, 225, 275. And then today I actually might take one extra if this doesn't feel super smooth, because we are going to be pushing like max effort. Meanwhile, I say that they got Jay Cutler on the TV repping 405, so that's pretty sick. But here we go. So give me a good idea where we're at today. Nice benches here. Hey guys, this is why it's important to actually look at the weights. I just did 295 for 4, which was very dumb. So we're just gonna jump into our top set. All right, I'm gonna lock in, so I'm not gonna be talking during this. Three, 2, 1. Got it. All right, I'm gonna answer a few questions while I wait here. What about some jiu-jitsu content? Well, brother, I am injured and not in jiu-jitsu, so I only have a limited amount of competition footage to work with. So that's why there's not a overwhelming amount of jiu-jitsu footage right now, or content. Best overall knee health exercises, I would say, number 1, it's not a specific exercise, but get really strong in your knee. And then secondly, is get your mobility as best as you can possibly get it. That's going to do 2 things. 1, the strength is going to strengthen the tendons, ligaments, and muscle tissue surrounding that joint. And 2, the mobility will give you some extra wiggle room just in case you get into range of motion issues. So having strength through a long range of motion is probably the best injury prevention you can possibly do. As a strong guy, I don't know if I'm that strong. How do you maximize your roles with weaker training partners? Oh, for you, okay, maybe you're the strong guy. I would say dial back the strength and put yourself in bad positions, because realistically, you're not really getting anything training with weaker opponents if you're using your strength, because you can get into a bad position and then just, cheat your way out of it. Now, in competition, that's totally fine, but in training, you're not really getting anything out of that. All right, let's get our next working set done. 3, 2, 1, got it. Thanks. So, one thing that I've learned from lifting for a long time is if you ever get a PR, especially one where your adrenaline is all jacked up, and you're really hyped up like I was for that first set, the second set, do not try to PR. That is easily 1 rep in reserve. Trying to PR in the second set, or even take a rep PR for your second set, like if last week you did 7 and then I try to do 8, try to gain a rep, there's really nothing you gain from that other than potentially injuring yourself, because you spiked your adrenaline up and you recruited absolute maximum motor units, and now you're less hyped up, you're less focused, and you're tired. It is like the optimal window to get injured, and that's exhibit A. I've gotten injured doing that, getting injured on the second set. So that's just a word of advice, a tidbit or a tip about taking a PR and then live to fight another day. Okay, we're gonna fuck around and we're gonna do the 225 for max reps combine shit, just because I feel like fucking around today. And I hit a sweet PR, and there's no reason to take a third working set at 315, because I feel like I got my strength work done. Not that strength and hypertrophy is separate, and not that I think that this is any more hypertrophy, but sometimes it's nice to have a little fun in your training, as we discussed last week. So I'm thinking 25 would be cool, especially given that I've done 19 reps already at 315. This is gonna be a skin splitting chest bump. Those are like, they're so easy until they're not, and then I just die. Typically, I like to do some version of an incline press that actually tucks my elbows and takes my shoulder through the path of actually going from like my hip up towards my head. So going through this path, actually targeting that upper pec. The other house of gains that I go to has a machine specifically designed for that, but they don't really have that here. So this is the best I could do. So we'll take a look at how this works. If not, I'm just gonna get some extra pressing done today. I did 3 sets in on flat, so I'll probably do 2 sets here, maybe 2 more sets, isolated pec deck. And I know that's a lot of volume for chest, but I'm slowly moving my volume up as I'm eating more and more food, because I'm getting bigger and I'm getting stronger. Anyway, let's answer a few more questions. Would I ever do a striking combat sport? Not competitively. I've done Muay Thai, but I'm more into Jiu-Jitsu right now, to where, you know, I'm competing at a professional level that I don't see any extra benefit from getting punched and kicked when I'm trying to train Jiu-Jitsu. You know, if I was more into MMA or something like that, I would definitely be training a striking sport, but I'm not, so I have no need to. How do I improve my body composition, parentheses cut, and still perform in BJJ? So I would do a smaller deficit than I would if I was just lifting weights, because like you said, you got to maintain that performance. Somewhere in like the 300 to 500 calorie deficit. That's going to help you lose that fat, but also not take such a giant performance loss from something like a 1,000 calorie deficit. And honestly, I think the improvement in your body composition and the loss of fat will actually improve your performance over time. So it's more of an investment in yourself than anything. All right. Training for a jiu-jitsu competition, how does that look any different than regular jiu-jitsu training? It shouldn't, until you taper down. Okay, I mean, if you're a professional, you're gonna run a camp for a specific opponent or a specific tournament. But if you're not a professional, you'd just be training normally. And then I would taper down the week of into your competition, so you're not fried going into your competition, and you can get some of that, what we call in lifting, more of like that periodization. So you're almost like overreaching, take a deload, and then you have a big performance spike. All right, let me knock this last warm-up set out and we'll get into our working set. I honestly haven't used this machine extensively, and 2 plates was really easy. So this might be like a set of 15, or it might get really hard really quick, and I'll actually hit my correct rep range, which I should be aiming for, which, as we all know, is somewhere in the 6-ish target rep range. I say 4 to 8 because that gives you, a buffer of 2 above and below to miss. And also, guys, this is one thing that I feel like I've had to explain to people over and over again, is the suggested rep range is a suggestion. You can miss the rep range. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. That was perfect. Slowly learning my lessons here about answering questions while I'm resting, not fucking off while I'm resting. What app do you use to track workouts and progression? Oh, it's funny you asked that. I actually have an app coming out Monday. I'll be on TrainHeroic, training teams 3-day and 4-day. Jacked Grappler, you can join those come Monday, which would be June 2nd. So keep an eye out for that. If you are on the Jacked Grappler programs right now, the Excel documents, the app will be an updated version of those programs, and then I will personally update the programs month to month, mesocycle to mesocycle. And you'll also have access to a community chat and me. But currently, the app I use is literally Excel. I just plan my training and I plug in the reps in the cells. Why don't you use explosive exercises in your programs? I don't want to. No, I mean, I don't have anything against it, but also in jiu-jitsu, you gotta think, how much are we actually using explosiveness? It's probably pretty low, especially for people like me that are bigger and slower. But I mean, if you want that in your training, I have nothing against it. Honestly, I recommend it. Throw some plyos in, throw some jumping in. There's nothing wrong with it, and honestly, it'll make you a better athlete. I'm just lazy, and I don't want to go fucking hopping around the gym. I like lifting heavy-ass weights. If not training jiu-jitsu currently, should I up the days I'm weightlifting? That is a personal question based on your training experience, training lifetime, like how long you've been training, your ability to program for yourself and not smash yourself with volume. But if you know how to actually program correctly, you know how to not to crush yourself with volume, then yeah, you could. That's what I'm doing. I moved up my training days from 3 or 4 when I'm doing jiu-jitsu to 5. Sometimes 6 when I'm feeling crazy. Okay, you're good.
Ooh, that was not a good way to do that.
Okay, well, we found a decent pec deck, so I'm happy with that. Usually a lot of these pec decks are completely made incorrectly, where they don't have a longer pad here, and they have this teeny little pad to not be able to brace your scapula against. Because what you don't want happening on a pec deck is this crap, which I'll probably do at the end when I'm squeezing out the last couple of reps. But you want this big fat back pad too, that you can shove your pelvis against and tuck your pelvis. Because a lot of times you're gonna overemphasize this arch and not just, you're like powerlifting your pec deck now. If we're actually trying to develop our chest, there's a different way to go about that. So, I'm just checking if I'm recording. Sometimes I'm just talking into the void. Okay, helper elf.
You elf first, now helper elf.
I think I'm gonna do like 60 here. I don't think this thing's heavy enough.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I got it. Actually, I think the bottom of the stack is
It's pretty heavy.
heavier. I think it's time we pop the top and go vapidly look at ourselves in the mirror before we do a million other muscle groups, because it's an upper day. Let's see if this chest bump is chesting. Not bad. Before I hit this, how's it going? I'll get to an Instagram question. All right, can I increase the sets on workouts, and how long should workout last? This is very vague. If you're talking about increasing the sets on the 3 or 4 day programs that I wrote out, then yes. As long as you do it with the intention of not spamming volume for the sake of volume, and like you feel like you can get more out of it if you add a set here or there, and you're still progressing, there's no reason not to. So, or I guess there is reasons not to, because it's literally set up to mitigate fatigue and emphasize recovery, but you can if you feel like you can intelligently do it and still progress. I'm gonna move this camera out of this guy's way. Hey!
Barely fucking.
Got it. You moved the seat up, didn't you? God damn it. It's days like this where I wish I had my gym pin. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you give me expensive things. I lose them. What would a four-day upper-lower split look like any person? I don't know what this question is asking. If you're asking what a typical 4-day split should look like, I have a video specifically on upper-lower. It's literally the pinned video. I also have a program. However, you don't have to buy it. You can watch my How to Get Jacked and Strong as a Grappler series and learn how to do it yourself. But a skeleton bare bones of what that would look like is upper, lower, rest, upper, lower, rest, rest. Your upper and lower days should cover all the muscle groups for the first half, then all the muscle groups for the second half. But the exercises for the first half and the second half should be different, covering different resistance profiles. So let's say I do a flat press and a pec deck on the first upper day. The second day, I could do an incline press and then maybe a upper pec biased fly. That could be an example of your chest for your upper days. First half, second half. Okay, let's start hitting back, because I think we've been here for about an hour and I'm just fucking talking. All right, I'm going with these incline bench unilateral cable pull downs, I guess. My mesocycle's a little messed up because of filming up in Dallas with Jimmy, which is another YouTube video that's coming out. So I'm kind of just, I know what things I want to hit in terms of vertical pulling, muscle groups, whatever on this upper day, but I don't particularly have an exercise order because my mesocycle's been thrown off already. So we're gonna get back on schedule, writing a new one this coming Sunday. But this is what I'm gonna be doing for my vertical pulling or my frontal plane pulling. All right, this might be too light. Yeah, that's too light. Nope, that's too heavy. Single arm, yeah, the stacked wins. Let's try this again. Oh yeah, this is perfect. I've been really liking these unilateral lat movements because I can really feel like I'm hitting my lat, even though I've talked about before how mind-muscle connection isn't an indicator of muscle growth. Sometimes other muscle groups can take over a movement. And so in that regard, it is important to actually feel sometimes, if you're struggling with a movement, to hit it in the correct spot. This guy asked your favorite submission from Jiu-Jitsu and go in depth on it. So my favorite submission is a rear naked choke. You literally saw, if you watch my Instagram or TikTok, she is able to submit me with a fully locked in rear naked choke. So it's literally the great equalizer of Jiu-Jitsu. It's the reason Jiu-Jitsu is even useful in the first place. There's a million different joint locks, but at the end of the day, the number one submission in UFC is a rear naked choke for a reason, is because no matter who you are, you cut off the carotid artery for 6 seconds and you're gonna go unconscious. So go in depth on it. I mean, there's a million videos on how to execute a proper rear naked choke. The key factors for me when I'm going to hit a rear naked choke is good hand fighting and hand trapping. So if you're able to trap an opponent's hand, now, especially with your legs, you now have 2 attacking hands and your opponent has 1. So he has to choose between 1 or 2 of the hands to attack, and you'll eventually be able to peel and slip through it and eventually get to your rear naked choke. So I think going in depth into how to get good at a back attack system is about hand fighting and hand trapping. Pineapple pizza? Fuck no. Pineapple does not go on pizza. Fuck out of here. All right, we're gonna do 2 sets here. We're gonna move on to more of a rowing movement. I really like lat movements that I can focus on tucking my elbow down towards my hip. Obviously, lat pull down's great. It's probably my second favorite lat movement. But for unilateral stuff, I really like that I have the ability to like pull my elbow in towards my hip, which is actually the main function of the lat, which is to, in this case, it would be adduct the elbow down towards you. Definitely went down in weight because now I'm doing like way more reps. So I guess we're just doing a drop set. I think the lat might be the most difficult muscle group for people to actually get a good understanding of how to hit it. Everything else seems really straightforward, like bicep, bend your elbow, quad, flex at your knee. The lat seems so more mysterious to most people, I feel like. Probably because it's on the back of your body. But it seems like one of those things, especially that I struggled with when I first started training, is actually finding exercises that I could feel. Once again, it's not a driver of muscle growth, but being able to actually target it with proper biomechanics, I think is actually pretty important. All right, this incline bench tricep pushdown has actually been one of my favorite tricep exercises. Probably my favorite tricep exercise right now for elbow extension. I think that dips, either on the machine or weighted, are still my favorite for the pressing tricep biased movements. I messed around with JM press. I don't like it. I don't know what it is about it. It just kind of bothers my elbows. But this is grade A, S tier, you could say, for the triceps. Kylie, can you help me pull this out? Got it. That's heavy. That stack is heavy. That's perfect. I'll lower it next time, but the stack is heavy. What outside of rest do you do for recovery? Obviously there's eating and sleeping, but I think the most slept on, that's kind of a funny thing, a funny way of putting this, but probably the most underappreciated aspect of recovery is stress management. If you have a really stressful lifestyle, you have a physical 9 to 5, or you're in a stressful position at work, that's something that's gonna heavily affect your recovery, because that's going to put stress on your body, and those cortisol is gonna spike up, and you're gonna not perform as well in any aspect of physical performance. So anything you can do to reduce stress is gonna be a massive performance increase. All right, how do you get asked, you reckon you could beat me in a fight when jiu-jitsu comes up? Oh boy, that happens to me a lot. Funny enough, when I was in college, I was in a fraternity, and that happened to me probably 70 times. But the thing is if I was like a blue belt at the time, and I was like 220 pounds. Literally, I probably have 70 guillotine finishes on like random ass dudes. So probably not the most responsible thing to do. But nowadays, if somebody asks me that, I just kind of laugh at them. It's just like hilarious. It's like, dude, I do this professionally. Like I would dog walk you. So there's no I don't need to prove it to you. All right, Beginner's Guide to Jiu-Jitsu. I actually have two, in my opinion, really good videos on if you're just starting out in Jiu-Jitsu, how to progress fast. They're both labeled. I wish Instagram had a better organization for individual reels or series of reels, but I actually have some pretty good videos on that if you guys want to check those out. Really the thing is, if I could condense it down into one topic or not one topic, but one tip is pick one thing and focus on that. And when you get really good at that, pick up a next thing. It's the same thing in lifting. Like if you want to get good at bench press, bench. All right, enough talking. If you're wondering why we went from our lat pull downs to triceps, is because somebody's on the rowing, and it would be better, in my opinion, to do both my back exercises back to back. But sometimes you gotta compromise. Honestly, if they're still on that, I might just switch exercises because I don't want to wait around for it. But I would say, here's a tip, not a tip. I would say 95% of the time, right now I'm kind of like playing it by ear of what I'm hitting in the gym today. But if you have a mesocycle that you have planned out, your exercise order, there is a strong reason to stick to the exercise order, which is being able to progress an extra rep or some weight in the gym really is dependent a lot on the exercise order, which is why the most important exercises to you take precedence as the first in the order. So if I come into barbell bench press and it's taken, and I do my second exercise first, I'm gonna have higher performance on my second exercise, but then I'm gonna go back to barbell bench press, and one, I'm gonna be tired from hitting that, probably a chest movement, and two is that's not gonna be my first exercise in the order now. So messing with your order is going to mess with your progression. Now, if that's not super important to you, it's not that big of a deal, that's okay. But if you're really locked in on a specific mesocycle and you wanna see if you actually are making gains, you actually are making progress, swapping up your exercise order and swapping exercises is the worst thing you can do. Now, that being said, we might go swap an exercise. We got one bicep exercise to do. I think my head's cut off right now. We got one bicep exercise to do, and then some shoulder pressing. I don't know if we're gonna get to lateral raises. I think you're misunderstanding the question on balance, both. Balance without fatigue. I'm not misunderstanding the question. I've covered fatigue literally hundreds of times. So no, I'm not misunderstanding it. Either there's a lack of comprehension of my videos, or you're asking me how do I balance it? Like, how do I fit it in my schedule? Because it's not about fatigue, because I've answered the fatigue thing a million times. And literally the following question: how do you balance cardio, weightlifting, and BJJ sessions? Put it in your schedule and do it. Well, got it. That's heavy. If you want to compete, if I want to competing, this isn't English, should I go to a gym with actual pros or just train random old men BJJ for cardio? I think you're answering your own question jokingly. Obviously, go to the most professional gym you can possibly have access to. If you can't train legs due to knee injury, do you only do 2 upper workouts a week? I can train my legs. I'm just not confident going back to jiu-jitsu where I can't control the parameters that I can while I'm lifting. So I'll be coming back to jiu-jitsu hopefully within like 3 or 4 weeks, but I can train my legs right now just within a narrow band of parameters, like leg extensions or slow eccentric hack squats. So no, I don't just do 2 upper body workouts a week. Does your training plans include conditioning, mobility, and grip strength? My app that's coming out June 2nd will. It will be primary lifting with optional conditioning, mobility, grip strength. For people that just want the lifting component, they have that. And for people who want the optional stuff, you also have that. It's not an increase in price or anything. It's just, it will be also optionally included. Currently, the lifting programs in my bio, I don't have those things, but that's something that I wanted to add, which is why I got this app out as quickly as I could. Thoughts on weird exercises like Zercher deadlifts or similar ones? I think they're good. I don't think they're magical like people tout them to be in grappling. I think just getting generally strong is 99% of the battle. And then if you want a cherry on top, you can do some goofy shit like that. But it's not goofy shit, I should say. It's more like, I don't know, weird spinal stuff. I don't necessarily think it's magic though. I think a lot of people think that it has this crazy carryover. The words carryover are so overused and so misunderstood, I feel like. It's like, yeah, if you train your legs in a squat pattern and then get your abs strong and train some sort of spinal flexion like a Jefferson curl, I don't think you need to do crazy Zercher shit. But it's up to you, man. If that's fun for you, you could do that. All right, we got to lock in for one more heavy press. All right, we're gonna superset the shoulders and biceps because I'm getting fucking tired. And these lifting and filming and answering question sessions take a whole lot of fucking energy out of me. Let me finish up the last of these questions and then we'll hit this last set of biceps. Maybe do a little lateral raises. I hear people say pull-ups have more translations than lat pull-downs. Well, that's stupid. There's no such thing as translations or carryover. One hits your lats, one hits your lats. So no. 500,000s are dinner with Diddy. Thoughts? I'm taking the 500K, I'm not getting touched. Since you're in Austin, why don't you go train with a better team like B Team? You're pretty good. Thanks, man. I don't think you know where I train though. I would figure that out first. Best form of training with limited amount of time, 30 to 45 minutes max, full body, 1 set to failure. Hit all the muscle groups 2 to 3 times a week. Your preferred way of learning and retaining new information? I like visual and audio formats, podcasts and YouTube. I don't necessarily have some specific like scientific approach to learning though. I just enjoy learning, so I'll just throw it on as entertainment. And because I'm entertained and because I like the information, it sticks, because I genuinely enjoy it. All right, I think I've gotten to all these, except the stupid ones, like best crab sources. I don't know what that means.
Crab?
Crab.
Like crab leg?
Literally says crab, yeah. Okay, here's a new one. Best way to increase push-ups. More push-ups. No, but I mean, that's the dumb answer. Yeah, do more push-ups because you're gonna get neurologically adapted to doing lots of push-ups. The best way, or the way that I got really good at push-ups really fast, is I literally did like 300 push-ups spread out throughout the day. This has nothing to do with strength. This has nothing to do with hypertrophy. It literally is becoming neurally adapted to push-ups.
Get a girlfriend to sit on your back.
Yeah, and also, number one, increase your chest strength. I don't even do push-ups anymore, and I can max the Army PT test easier than I could when I was in the Army because my chest is 10 times stronger. Not 10 times, but twice as strong.
But not twice as big.
Huh?
But not twice as big.
See, always the hater. Always the hater. Why is this so much lighter than 70?
Like in a spicy pump,
It's like half the weight.
30 reps.
You know, when you look up a song and then it goes to the next one, but it's like the next one of whatever that like search order is. So it's not going back to my library or the queue. It's literally just like going to the next search result. That's what happened. I have no idea what I'm listening to right now, and it's dog shit.
What rep you're on? Last one, I guess.
Okay. I've got a absolutely wicked bicep pump.
You know that didn't have your shoulders in it like at all, right?
Huh?
You know that barely had your shoulders in it at all, right?
Whatever.
I tilted it back for your last couple of reps, but...
What's up, guys? This is Roman coming at you with a voiceover, so you're not just watching a sweaty, panting man look at himself in the mirror. Anyways, I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about how I actually do these Q&As through YouTube. If you're not following me already on Instagram, that's where I actually post the questions, or the button for you guys to ask questions. That's where I go on my phone and answer questions. Now, you're more than welcome to post questions in the YouTube comments. I'd be more than happy to answer them. But if you actually want to see where I'm answering these questions at, it's on Instagram and how I get them for the video. Secondly, on the 2nd of June, I have my training app through TrainHeroic coming out. I'm going to be running 2 training teams, a 3-day and 4-day teams. These are programs I'm going to be updating month to month. They have community chat, and you have access to me as a coach. I usually don't promote my stuff at all. I'm really bad about it. The only times I ever promote my program is during sales. But if you're interested in joining my training teams, jump over to Instagram. I'm going to be posting the links. They'll also be in the YouTube description when they actually get out June 2nd. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.